And the fun continues from downtown Sacramento on a beautiful day here in Northern California, and we got a good one for you. Game 2 of 4 here. Rhode Island out of the Atlantic 10 Conference, and the Creighton Blue Jays, the at-large out of the Big East. The winner advances to take on Dana Altman and the Oregon Ducks after a high-powered victory by Oregon here earlier today. Hi, everyone. Nice to have you with us. Here with Steve Smith and Len Elmore. We'll hear from Rosgold on Wood 8 in just a couple of minutes. Let's start with Creighton. This is a team that got off to that incredible start, then the injury to Maurice Watson. 18-1 at the time that he went down. Had to turn to some other players. Marcus Foster, the transfer, has been terrific for him.
Yeah, he's a big-time scorer, but now he has to facilitate a little bit. But he's a natural scorer. Gives you close to 19 points. But what I love about him, in transition, #1 in the Big East, close to 6 points. He's dynamic. He's physical. Plays like he's about 6'6". It's a treat to watch him play.
Meantime, Lenny, on the other side, Hassan Martin, who has been as good a big man as there has been certainly on the East Coast, one of the best bigs in the Atlantic 10. The senior has been their leader underneath.
Well, the 6'7" senior, as you mentioned, if you want to describe him in a word, rugged. He posts with high energy, and actually being a left-hander, which he is certainly a plus.
Take a look at how these two teams will start. Jeff Doughton, the young man who came on after some of the injuries that they had in the backcourt, continues to start. DC Matthews, the young man who came back from that devastating ACL injury that cost him all but one game of the last season, starting to come into his own, look like the old EC Matthews. And keep your eyes on Justin Patton, the freshman big man for Creighton. Very, very explosive. There is Danny Hurley, 44-year-old Jersey City, New Jersey native, getting Rhode Island back into the dance for the first time in 18 years. What a moment for him and this program. And his counterpart, Greg McDermott, 52-year-old Iowa native, 7th trip to the tourney, and his 4th go-round with Creighton. And we are underway. We've been looking forward to this matchup, Rhode Island and Creighton here in Sacramento.
Well, you got a solid defense in Rhode Island that loves to get up and pressure you versus an up-tempo team in Creighton. If you like getting up and down, you'll see them flying from inline to inline.
Creighton, 25 wins this season, as they came up just short in the Big East championship game against the #1 overall seed Villanova. Patton unable to hit the little turnaround.
Like that Creighton went down to Patton. You can see he's going to have to use his length. Fade away right there, but love to see him go toward the basket, maybe with a jump hook, put some pressure on this defense of the Rhode Island.
This Rhode Island team has won 8 straight games, as hot as any team in the field. It's a long 2 from Karan Iverson, the senior, a little bit short. Offensive rebound kept alive by Martin. Shot clock did reset. Off-balance shot won't go, but it's cleaned up by Iverson. And Rhode Island on the board first.
And you see, make or miss. Creighton's going to push the ball up the floor, try to catch defenses on their heels.
This is Pat, what a matchup between he and Martin today. Lost the handle, able to get it back, but standing to the cup, unable to finish.
Yeah, but you like that mobility. Big fella can handle.
Patton, the freshman, local kid from Omaha. What a defensive play that time. That was Kyrie Thomas, the sophomore, another Omaha kid with the defensive gem.
Rams like to get into you. Like Len talked about, they have some guys with some size at the wing place and some length. And they close out extremely well.
3-pointer from Cole Huff. Well short. And Jeff Doughton back the other way for the Rams. Iverson for Pete. These two teams still trying to feel each other out. Look at Patton on the floor, blocked inside. What a play by Iverson.
Great run by Patton, but he caught the basketball a little bit too casual. You got to go up stronger. Iverson, nice timing. As you can see, Patton outrunning everybody. Now you got to go up stronger than that. Good blocking, good timing by Iverson.
Yeah, they blocked the shot, but I tell you what, that plants a seed in the minds of the bigs for Rhode Island, particularly Hassan Martin, that Patton's going to run the floor. You better stay with him.
Foul charge to Marcus Foster, his first. This is Terrell at the free throw line, a junior, Massachusetts native, 74% free throw shooter, and their coaches told us yesterday that this kid is the alpha dog of this team. Told us about a little story of a game he played his freshman year against Nebraska, who came in as a ranked team. Hadn't beaten a ranked team in over a decade, hit a couple of threes in a game that went to overtime, and they knew at that point that this kid was a player. And what a career he's had for Danny Hurley. Blue Jays at this end have missed their first 4 shots. Still looking for their first points. Errant pass from Thomas. Lands into the seats.
We talked about the pressure that Rhode Island can apply, and you saw it right there. Trying to make a little bit too much happen. Just trying to get rid of the ball to get the press off you.
This is Doughton. On to Terrell. Still plenty of time to shoot. Open look at a 3 from Anderson, won't go. Terrell from deep. Both teams working to some of those early jitters. Pull-up shot. This is Foster from deep.
That's a good shot. They play with pace and transition. Just couldn't knock that one down.
So Creighton 0 of 5 to start. They've missed their first 2 shots from deep. There's so much talk about this Rhode Island team peaking at just the right time. Off to a 4-0 start. Iverson trying to force the issue, and that's an offensive foul. Official said he got a little bit too aggressive there as he worked underneath against Huff.
Take a look at the chicken wing come out in the left arm right there, just enough. Right in front of the official. It's hard to get away with it.
Huff, a young man who has had to play with a heavy heart, deal with a lot of emotion. His mother suffering a sudden stroke. It was just a couple of weeks ago, resting in a hospital here in California, in the hometown where he grew up in Altadena, just north of Pasadena in Los Angeles. Happy to say that she is resting comfortably and watching this game on television, rooting for her son as Creighton look to advance. Here comes Foster down the paint, trying to force the issue against that interior defense, and he'll shoot free throws.
Jared Terrell and also Foster, great matchup.
It's been a long time since these Rams have been in the dance, 18 years. This is some of their history. Lamar Odom is here, the man who orchestrated their last run into the tournament back in 1999. And many other Rhode Island luminaries as Foster hits on the first.
There's Lamar. I'm a Rhode Island Ram. Played against him a lot in the NBA. Special talent, 6'10", handle the basketball, shoot it, pass it. He had the whole skill set, man. He could do pretty much anything he wanted on the basketball court.
Yeah, I remember him coming out of school. A lot of comparisons to Irvin Johnson because of that size and the ability to create for himself and for others.
It's just good to see Lamar doing well. Route 9, his alma mater. Last time they got in, they needed that incredible 35-foot shot to beat Temple in the A-10 championship game. That's Doughton underneath, able to clean up his own mess. Doughton, only a freshman, Upper Marlboro, Maryland native, from one of the great high school programs in the country, St. John's College High School. This is Foster, unable to answer. Got a piece of it underneath that Rams defense. Terrell a little bit low, trying to find Langevine on the bounce, and we'll get a timeout. Ragged start for Creighton, down 5 in the early couple of minutes. Here in Sacramento, Creighton still looking for their first bucket, 0 of 6 to start. Right now down 5 as we check in with Raz Gold on Wood A. Raz?
Preston Murphy is currently an assistant coach for Creighton, but in the past he was the starting point guard for the last Rhode Island team to make it to the NCAA tournament in 1999. And he told me that 99 Rhody team was much like this year's squad in that they had to win the A-10 tournament to get to the big dance. And he also used to be an assistant coach for Rhode Island, and he recruited E.C. Matthews, who he told me he loves like a son. And when they won the A-10 title, he was watching, he was cheering, and he texted EC immediately. He told me playing each other today is emotional, but they have to put the emotions to the side for 40 minutes. After all, this is Preston's scout.
What a career he had. Starting point guard in their 1998 Elite 18. Has to be emotional watching some of the kids that he helped groom a couple of years back. Finally, Creighton able to get on the board with their first field goal. It's Kyrie Thomas, the sophomore, co-defensive player of the year this season in the Big East.
And he's the X factor. He's going to guard all the top wing and perimeter guys who score the basketball and gave you some offense and knock down that first three-pointer for the Blue Jays.
This is Stoughton against Mintz. Down stops on a dime. And that's short, a little bit short front of the rim. So Rhode Island struggling from the field as well. 2 of 9 and 0 of 4 from deep. This is Mintz, freshman from Charlotte. Aaron pass through it behind Thomas. Taken by Matthews. Left-handed floater.
That defense will wear on you. The more passes Rhode Island can force Creighton to throw, the better their chances of getting a deflection, because they are out there overplaying the lane.
Matthews hit that decisive runner in the Atlantic 10 championship against VCU with under a minute left, had 19 in that game. This is Cole on a tough turnaround, and it's saved underneath.
And you can see with the Blue Jays, Lynn, I'm sorry, that they don't have a lot of guys that can break you down off the dribble. They have to do a good job of passing the basketball, set some screens, and getting some better spacing.
Well, that's where the loss of Maurice Watson comes in as Rhode Island capitalizes.
Jeff Doughton on a 3, and that gets the Rams faithful up out of their seats.
Smitty, you mentioned it, the inability to turn the corner, although you got somebody right there that can do it, the extra pass.
Foster too strong on a 3, and a rebound underneath by Langevin, who's checked in.
Creighton needs more guys that can turn the corner and create those opportunities. Those shots will fall eventually, but Rhode Island doing an excellent job of keeping ball handlers in front.
I think Marcus Foster is going to have to be the guy. I know he's a scorer, but he might have to facilitate a little bit with his Blue Jays. Let him handle it. He has the big enough body to turn the corner and get into that lane.
Here he is, Foster down the paint. Good body control that time, but too much defense underneath. Last touch by the Rams. As we get wholesale substitutions on both sides. Some of the numbers between these two teams. What a matchup between Creighton and Rhode Island, Atlantic 10 against Big East.
Look at the gaudy 82 points per game for Creighton, one of the most efficient offensive teams in the nation. And Rhode Island is just sticking it to them right there, making every possession a difficult one.
Foster stays on the floor, guarded by Terrell. Outside, this is Hegner just checking in. Back of the rim, won't go. And back comes Rhode Island. So Creighton now 1 of 6 from deep as Hegner clears at the other end. Patton trying to beat the defense back. Boy, slipped out of his hands, and he's able to clean it up.
Big fellas running the floor, Lynn, just like you said. And he can collapse this defense and give them some extra spacing on transition, and also in the half court the way he's running.
Yeah, in the half court, Creighton's struggling. That's the guy who has to be the outlet. That's the guy who will force the Rhode Island defense to adjust.
This is Martin powering up off the glass.
What did I call him? Rugged? He invites contact because he likes it.
I'm going to start calling him shoulders. He has some broad shoulders, and he is put together.
Led the Big East in field goal percentage, just under 60% on the season. Nice dribble, drive, and finish by Kyrie Thomas.
He's my X factor. He's the guy I think can do a lot on the offensive end, but more importantly on the defensive end to slow down these Rams.
The evolution of that kid over the last 12 months has been something to see. What a season he had. Already 5 points. This is Jarvis Garrett.
He can score. Good.
Iverson on a triple, too strong. And here's Patton in the open floor. Eddie played to kind of pull it out, wait for his teammates.
Smart decision.
Isaiah Zierden on a 3. That won't go. So Creighton now, gentlemen, 1 of 7 from deep. They're 3 of 15 overall.
Only down 5. Now the Rams got to capitalize on the ability of the Blue Jays to score the basketball.
Iverson. Egner able to keep his feet. Who touched it last year? Officials say it will belong to Creighton when we come back. 5-point Rhode Island lead on TBS.
I'll tell you that SMU team is outstanding despite having just a 6-man rotation. But USC, they have the formula in beating them, as Adam said before. They had beaten them earlier this season. That is one heck of a game. They'll go down to the wire, I'm sure.
And the winner of that one moves on to take on Baylor as things get interesting around the country in this tournament. Boy, what a play by Patton. Tried to catch and finish in one motion. Couldn't. Rhode Island's lead still at 5.
He would have been better served just catching the ball, planting himself, and then making a move.
Guys, what have you seen the first couple of minutes as these two teams try to feel each other out?
Well, I see the Rams defensively making it very difficult for the Blue Jays. And I think for Creighton, they have to find a way to just get the basketball, maybe try to post pad and loosen up this defense. And on offense for the Rams, they are just trying to get into the paint and score the basketball. Neither team is shooting a high percentage.
I would say this, it's definitely, Steve, the way that the Rams are playing defense, but also they're playing physical brand. A lot of bumping and grinding and kind of knocking Creighton out of their rhythm.
Martin to steal, then Garrett loses his footing. Robinson the trailer, and Rhode Island builds on its lead.
It's very physical, and you can see great point guard play. If you don't have great point guard play, it's going to be tough. And Coach McDermott over there trying to find a way. Somebody got to keep Foster in this game as much as possible.
What a roller coaster of a year it's been for Greg McDermott and Creighton. Got off to that 18-1 start, and then this awful injury to Maurice Watson, the ACL tear in the middle of January. There are people, at least in Omaha, talking potential Final Four. That's how good this team looks. So it went to 7-8 in the absence of their all-world point guard Watson.
Yes. Watson could break down the defense, and all those pick and rolls with Patton, he got easy looks. In transition, they were dynamic. They had 3 guys that can make plays and run. Now they're struggling to beat you off the dribble. Not a lot of guys that can create.
Straightaway 3 from Foster. Boy, they needed that one badly. Second bucket for Foster. 4-point game. Just past the 9-minute mark, first half. This is Martin underneath. Boy, went left hand right of the basket.
Well, he is a lefty, and I've always said it. Left-handers, particularly bigs, have an advantage because the defenders are so used to playing righties. And when you get in close quarters, you can use that offhand. That serves you well.
Once again, they're going back down to Martin.
Mintz controls underneath. Mintz, the freshman point guard, making his 12th start in the absence of Watson. Foster, tough shot. Little floater with his right hand. Last touch underneath by Rhode Island, and the shot clock will reset. 6-point lead for the Rams. First half in Sacramento. Here in Sacramento, both teams trying to fight through some shooting struggles with Rhode Island up by 6. We check in with Roz.
Yeah, Dan Hurley, his big brother Bobby Hurley, he's in the stands here supporting him. Bobby, head coach at Arizona State. He returned to Sacramento. Remember, after he played at Duke, he played at Sacramento as a rookie before a really terrible car accident essentially ended his career. And I spoke with Dan about having his brother here, and guys, he got so emotional. He really remembers the visit with him in the hospital room, and he called Bobby his best friend. And he told me how tight the whole family is. His father, Bob Sr., growing up with a Hall of Fame high school coach, and his dad, he said it was like living in a basketball coaching clinic. And obviously both brothers are coaches.
Long jump shot by Kelly falls a little bit short as Foster comes up the floor. A little floater back to the rim and in. It's the first time, guys, that the Hurley family are all here in Sacramento since that near-fatal car accident that Bobby suffered in December of 1993. Just a couple of weeks into his rookie season in the NBA. Has to be surreal for him.
Yeah, surreal and bittersweet. You have those recollections, but the sweetness is they are together.
Yes. And you see everybody together. This is after the 18 tournament with his dad. Dan Hurley was emotional talking about Bob Hurley and that entire situation. And Bobby Hurley has gone through a lot. Mike Pepolowski, my old teammate, was the one that found Bobby after that terrible accident.
So Bob Sr., his wife Christine, more affectionately as Chris, by the family and friends in this program. What a moment for them to all be here together in Sacramento. As Justin Patton is fouled in the air, he'll shoot free throws.
Yeah, Creighton's got to use big fella more. I mean, he's running the floor, and obviously Hassan Martin and company have recognized that, and they're staying with him. But in the half-court situation, to make it a little bit easier to turn the corner, easier to get higher percentage shots, he's got to get touches.
So Patton, the freshman, only a 51% free throw shooter, misses on the first. Oh, watching the big dance calls for big refreshment, so grab a delicious ice-cold Coca-Cola and enjoy the game. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling. We talked to Danny yesterday at length about his last time being here. This is the first time he's back in Sacramento at all. Last time he was here, watching his brother cling to his life in a hospital room not far from where we are here. He's got this program back in the tournament for the first time in nearly 20 years, experiencing all the emotions over the last couple of weeks. 3-point Rhode Island lead with 6 and change left before halftime. This is Matthews.
Good job by Patton, being able to bother that shot.
Cole Huff from 3, got it! And we are tied at 17.
That's the way you weather the storm. I mean, they've been awful shooting the basketball on a 9-2 run right now, and some energy right now from the Blue Jays.
Told you what Huff has gone through the last couple of weeks with his mom. Big shot to tie this game. This is Martin, shot clock at 6. Silky smooth with that left-handed delivery.
When we talk about both teams having to get rhythm, they seem to be exactly where they want to be right now after a slow start.
This is Patton from deep. And a rebound cleared by Doughton.
All right, now, let's not get carried away, big fella.
He fella showed us his skill set, man. He said, let me take a 3 every once in a while. Pick and pop. You want to see him roll, huh?
I want to see him roll is right. Go where your strength is.
Harold defending against Doughton. This freshman has been terrific this season for Danny Hurley. Got a chance early in the year when Jarvis Garrett went down with that ulcer that cost him about a month. And this kid Doughton came out of nowhere. They certainly had high expectations. He had an ankle injury early in the season. Kind of prohibited Danny Hurley from giving him the early experience that they wanted for him. But when he got his chance, he was sensational.
He has confidence. He's wiry. And what he's really good at is off the bounce. He can get where he wants to. Next step for him is working on that jump shot. A little bit of a line drive, but he's dynamic of getting into the paint, breaking down, and a fabulous defender. Coach Hurley talked about it. He can guard. He can put him on some big-time scores at the 1, 2, or 3. And that's pretty good as a freshman, being able to guard this well.
USC and SMU coming down the home stretch. You can catch that game right now on True TV. Doughton, an all-rookie performer, has really shut down some of the great shooting guards in the Atlantic 10 Conference this season. Jack Gibbs certainly comes to mind, did a number on him in our conference tournament. Kyrie Thomas from deep. Kyrie Thomas.
That's just like him, 6'3", sophomore. Offensively, he's showing that he can knock down some open shots. More importantly, he's that glue guy. He do a little bit of everything for him.
8 points for Thomas, 2 for 2 from downtown. This is Doughton. Whistle blowing off the ball. Martin trying to wrestle for that low block. Martine Krompel, who's just checked in his whistle.
You see that 3 off the penetration, wide open as Rhode Island, they really like to pack it in, leave the weak side bare, prevent you from getting in the paint. But if there's any way you can possibly gather them in the paint and kick it outside, you're going to get wide open looks.
Isaiah Zierden will come back in for the Blue Jays as Greg McDermott continues to shuffle his guys in and out.
Kyrie Thomas, 38% three-point shooter, 50% from the field. Gives you about 12 points. Solid player.
Matthews coming hard. Baseline right. Boy, what a play to finish going glass. 4 points for Matthews.
Well, last year everybody thought that E.C. Matthews would be player of the year in the A-10, and then he wrecked his knee. Missed just about all season, but you can see where everybody's thought of his potential is coming from. He's got a lot of his reputation.
They will count the basket for Doughton, went right around the defender.
It's just totally
Zierden no match.
Sorry about that, Spiro. It's totally different when you're talking the contrast of both teams. They have 2 point guards that can break you down. The Rams, and Doughton being one. And then now you see the substitution. Doughton goes out, and they come right back in with Jarvis Garrett.
Garrett, the starter earlier in the season. He, of course, had his health situation. What a 2-man punch they have at that position with those 2 players. So Creighton with possession, down 5 as we hit the 4-minute mark first half. This is Harold, hounded on the outside by Robinson. And a reaching foul charge to Stan Robinson, the junior. Timeout in a 5-point game on TBS. All right, let's get you our game summary. Just under the 4-minute mark here, first half. Rhode Island and Creighton haven't seen the best of shooting between these 2 teams. We know they can defend as we look at some of the numbers.
Yeah, close your eyes when you're talking about field goals and 3-point field goals made. Just close your eyes looking at that graphic. But it's coming down to Rhode Island. They are controlling the tempo defensively. That's why they're up 5.
And the 2 big guns for Creighton, Justin Patton and Marcus Foster. 3 of 14 between them. That's 21%. That's not good enough right now against the defense as stout as Rhode Island.
Despite all that, they're only down 5. This is Thomas. And a few bright spots offensively. He's hit a couple of threes. Foster going right at Robinson, and then the help defender coming over. And we'll get the foul with free throws here. At the 3:33 mark, it was Cyril Langevin coming over. That's his first. And 2 free throws for Foster.
He got clobbered in the face after this one. Going for the basketball and missed it, landing right across the face.
That's taking the lesson of putting a hand in the face too far.
We'll get complete coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Tournament on NCAA.com. The Women's Final Four in Dallas on March 31st and April the 2nd.
I mean, it's challenging a jump shooter or a shooter, and it's challenging.
He got his money's worth on that play. As Foster, a 71% free throw shooter, cuts it to 4 with 3:29 left in this first half. And the winner of this game advances to take on Oregon on Sunday in the round of 32.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, as poorly as Creighton, a very efficient offense is played, you know, they can look at this clock and say, you just got to get it back together. Only down 7, but that was a big 3 right there.
Ron Iverson, the senior out of Hartford. This is Hegner from deep. Trying to get it back a little bit too strong, and the Rams control with 3 minutes left.
No clean looks. Only a few. Probably Thomas got a couple, and he knocked those down, but everybody else has been contested.
Aaron pass, Iverson trying to locate Martin underneath, and they turn it over.
Huff is daring him to shoot it, and he has no problem knocking that one down.
Well, he's only a 28% three-point shooter for Aaron Iverson, but you know, you got to be a threat out there. You got the lead. Why not?
That much space, you have to take it.
This is Harrell putting it on the deck.
Nice job by Rhode. You know he's not a natural point guard, but he's doing a nice job of bringing it up.
Patton can't hit the jumper. As Creighton is now 7 for 27. Possession now here favors the Rams. And Creighton just cannot get their offense going.
That's hard. I mean, when you don't have any penetration, Harrell's doing a nice job, but they got to find some kind of way. And I think, Len, if you can't run your offense through your wing guys, why don't you just come down some kind of way, just post up Patton and play through him?
Right, he's got the size and the length where you can have good entry pass inside and force Rhode Island to adapt, because they're not going to leave Martin in there by himself with Patton, and then you can find opportunities.
Final score, gentlemen, from Tulsa, USC over SMU as the Trojans advance. Team that we saw on Wednesday night in Dayton. Long shot. That is a long two.
Such a abrupt ending for SMU. Had a terrific season. American Athletic Conference champions. You know, won multiple games in a row. 18, 19 games in a row. Take a look at the turnover there, and Danny's happy.
Yes, he is, and the pressure is bothering him. And Monty Harrell dribbled it off his foot. And now they're getting Mintz back in the game.
So that long shot by Terrell, able to extend their lead to 9. We saw the drought continuing for the Blue Jays. Under 2 minutes left before halftime.
Again, it's the physical presence on the defensive end by Rhode Island that's knocked the Blue Jays off of their rhythm, and offensively, you know, they just keep hammering and hammering away, Rhode Island.
Matthews off target. Or does Creighton turn for offense? Foster. Put back in by Patton, and a foul. And just like that, 7-point game.
Time to rev up your motor, big fella. Can't wait for you. And here he gets excellent weak side position, battling the rugged Martin inside and getting the best of it.
Foul charge to Martin is his first. So here's Patton at the line again. Struggles at the free throw strike, 51%. Completes the three-point play nonetheless. To cut it to 6.
He has a decent stroke. He should be better than 51%.
Minor coming up. AT&T at the half. Guys will get you caught up with all the scores around the country. Final 60 seconds of this first half. Rhode Island, the Atlantic 10 Conference champs. Looking for points. It's Anderson from downtown. They have hit 6 of their last 7 shots.
Was he talking to you, Smitty, when
No,
he came
he wasn't talking to me, but he was talking to the crowd and the fans. He's getting himself hyped up. He's knocked down 2 of them.
Everson, the first ram in double digits with 10. What a pass inside. Thomas to Patton.
It's more like it. A little bit of patience in the half court. They might find some opportunity.
Or where would Creighton be without Kyrie Thomas in his first half? Doing a little bit of everything. As a timeout taken here by Danny Hurley and Rhode Island. High emotions here in Sacramento. Stay with us.
Len, Steve, and Roz.
Wow, wow, wow. What an ending. And again, USC, they've beaten SMU twice now. The only team to do that this whole season. And give them a lot of credit. The 11th seed, they came out in the first 4 and got their wheels.
1 second. Gatton has to fire from center court as it comes up a little bit short. The fiery Danny Hurley calling for his guys to run off the floor as they will take a 7-point lead into the halftime locker room. Creighton shoots just 9 of 30, including 4 of 13 from deep. Rhode Island didn't fare much better, but will take their 7-point lead into the dressing room. Raj standing by with Danny Hurley.
Coach, you're holding them to 30% shooting. I know defense is what you do. What's at the heart of the intensity and execution on that end?
We're a hungry team. Obviously, we're pressuring them, trying to chase them off the line as much as we can and force them into as many tough twos as we can.
On the offensive end, you guys started out a little cold but started to warm up. What do you want to work on the offensive end?
I mean, we're getting great shots. If we could just make a couple threes here, yeah, we're going to be in pretty good shape.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, Raj, so Danny Hurley and his bunch up 7 as we reach halftime here in Sacramento. 20 minutes in the books. Which of these 2 teams will advance to take on Oregon on Sunday in the second round? We'll send you to AT&T at the half after these messages. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Beautiful sunny skies, summer-like weather here in Northern California. 7-point Rhode Island lead as we are just about ready for the second half. Spiro Ditas, Len Elmore, Steve Smith will hear from Roz in just a moment. Rhode Island likes this kind of defensive-oriented, grinded-out kind of game, you think, right?
Yeah, they do. They have guys coming in, defending. You look at it, the stat sheet, 30% shooting for the Blue Jays. Also 30% shooting from the three-point line.
Well, you take a look at the numbers right there. This is not a masterpiece. This is not a Rembrandt or a Monet, but it's probably a Jackson Pollock. You don't know what it is, but it's got a lot of value at the end of it, whoever comes out on top.
I like that, Lenny. Let's get the update on Creighton with Roz.
I spoke with Coach McDermott and about handling the defensive pressure, and he said we were in such a hurry that sometimes we would settle for shots. You know, Justin Patton, he's 3 for 10. Around the rim, take it. But also he's got to make good decisions on which jumpers to pass on. They want to attack in transition before Rhode Island can set up their defense. And he also pointed out high ball screens worked for them. It loosened the pressure on them early when they settle for jumpers. That's what Rhode Island wants.
Foster, beautiful backdoor cut, but somehow just blew the layup. Exactly the set they wanted, they couldn't finish.
Nicely delivered by Patton.
Martin cleans up the mess after Matthews missed from deep. And that is a huge turnaround.
Trying to figure out how Martin was under the basket and Patton was almost at half court, looking like he was ready to take off. You got to stay in there and battle, and I think that's what Greg McDermott's telling this big fella.
Yeah, you can see great backdoor, beautiful pass. Foster just missed it, and on the other end, like you said, Martin getting a chance to catch it. Patton nowhere in sight.
Yeah, he was at the other end looking for a cherry pick.
So Foster, the second leading scorer in the Big East this season, better than 18 per game. Unanimous pick, all conference, first team. But so far this has been a struggle for the young man. 2 of 9 from the field. He's got 7 points. They'll need a whole lot more from him if they're going to come back.
See what he can do. Good defense. Terrell. Quick hands.
Terrell going coastal. Largest lead for Rhode Island.
You see off these ball screens, they're just taking one dribble and then kicking it around the perimeter. Somebody has to turn the corner and get right there inside the paint.
Davion Mintz, the freshman out of Charlotte. 12th start since the departure of Mo Watson. Wasn't playing much in McDermott's rotation prior to Watson going down. Watson, of course, the national leader in assists at the time of that devastating ACL injury on January the 16th. This is Doughton with 7 to shoot. Martin. They're going right into the body of Patton, who is no match on that play.
Talk about being rugged, being strong with the ball, taking the contact, using that right shoulder to shield. And as I said, lefties, particularly inside, have an advantage because particularly when you're trying to go for the block, you're always thinking you're going after the right hand. The lefty throws that up. It's almost like counterintuitive for the defender. And right there you saw Martin with that advantage.
Staten Island, New York, started Curtis High. Incredible season for the Rams, 14 points, 14th in the conference, 7th in rebounds, led them in field goal percentage and blocks. Tops in both categories in the Big East for making the Atlantic 10 this season. 9 to shoot. This is Tyree Thomas over 2 defenders trying to follow his own miss. And right now Creighton's offense once again struggling down 11. This will be a blocking foul on Mintz.
That's because of the Rams are physical. They're contesting shots. There's hands. They're not getting clean looks, the Blue Jays. And I'm wondering, Len, if you're Coach McDermott, I haven't seen a straight post-up by Patton yet. He has some moves. He has some touch. He has a jump hook. He's always out on the perimeter. I think they got to get some kind of way to get him down on the block some kind of way.
Well, we'll see what happens on the next possession. It all starts here, though. You got to make a stop.
Iverson hit a couple of threes in the first half, a little bit too much that time.
You know how you can tell that Creighton is out of rhythm is when they start to run their sets, Patton will break open, a couple of other guys will break open, but they're not in position to give them the ball. And that's because of the defense has forced, the Creighton passers to maybe take a look, take a pause. And by that time, it's too late. The guys aren't open any longer.
And the two guys, Lenny, who are orchestrating this offense, Davion Mintz, only a freshman, limited experience, and Marcus Foster, who primarily in his career, going back to high school, has always been a shooting guard, a shoot-first kind of guy. And maybe that's part of the issue for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, somebody has to just rip through. And right here, let me see what he has down there on the block.
This is Patton. All arms and legs with that incredible frame. Falling away. Shot clock resets.
We can't back Martin down. He's got to realize that. He's got to do his work early, get himself in position 2 feet in the paint rather than try to back the big fella down. Too strong.
Foster desperately trying to get his game going.
Good cut by him, a hard cut. Down, lost his foot. Got a chance to get an open, easy look, rare open look for the Blue Jays.
So 9 points for Foster, a junior out of Wichita Falls, Texas. Started his career at Kansas State. Odds there with Bruce Weber. Dismissed from the team and has found his niche with this Creighton program out in Omaha, Nebraska. And the basketball going back to the Blue Jays as Matthews was well short.
Creighton's got to find a way to get this tempo back to being theirs. Pushing the ball up the floor, being able to get quick hitters, set screens, get guys open, hit with pinpoint passes. Right now, Rhode Island has slowed the game down, uglied it up. And that's just the way they like it.
So McDermott makes a switch here. Zach Hansen, one of his bigs off the bench, comes into the game. Harrell trying to find him, could not. Broken up. This is Terrell. Inside for Doughton, and they will reset.
The pace the Rams want. Fortunately for the Blue Jays, even though they're down 9, the Rams can't get a lot of separation because they can't make shots either.
And Rhode Island shooting only 40% as a team. Iverson backdoor. What a pass by Martin. Dropping a dime. A dozen now for Iverson.
Boy, caught Curry Thomas napping. Eyes on the ball and not eyes on his man in the ball.
Paul Hoff stopping on a dime and hitting a tough little step back deep
bucket.
in that left corner.
A big bucket for them.
Told you about Huff's mother, Courtney, suffering that sudden stroke a couple of weeks ago. She had open heart surgery just this past Monday. Resting comfortably, as comfortably as she can in the hospital room right now in Los Angeles. Watching her son there, hoping that they can pull through. 5-point game, down, off balance, little flick at the rim, and he gets the drop.
That's just a good feel for the game. The freshman getting to the paint with a nice little push floater.
Whistle blown, Hansen fouled on the catch as we'll get a timeout. Rhode Island and Creighton battling in Sacramento. The winner to take on Oregon. 11-point game here in Sacramento, and some issues with that Creighton defense, Lenny, last sequence.
Yeah, it's difficult that it's been for them to score. One thing they can't do is lose their intensity on the defensive end. Take a look right here at Kyrie Thomas. Loses sight of his man. He's looking at the ball, and his guy, Koran Iverson, sneaks right behind him for an easy layup. And when you're not scoring on one end, you can't give away points.
Hansen, offensive rebound and a beautiful cut by Foster. So Foster into double digits with 11. And for all their struggles, guys, at both ends of the floor, they're still down by only 9 points.
Yes, indeed. I mean, if you look at the Blue Jays, some kind of way, if they can find some kind of rhythm just to get close to give them some confidence.
This is Stanford Robinson from deep with a good short. Whacked around underneath, and it's taken by Huff. This is Harrell. He'll pull it out and reset. One thing about Creighton, we haven't seen them put together many come-from-behind efforts this season is Huff. Expected contact, perhaps fires an off-balance three. Their largest come-from-behind victory this season was only 6 points. And that came in the Big East tournament against Xavier. Of course, Foster with the game winner.
Nice play by Doughton. Got a chance to get right to that elbow. Used the screen well. Ran his man into the defender and got a nice, easy, open look.
And again, Rhode Island just controlling tempo. Creighton not able to beat them down the floor in transition as they would like. Not able to push the ball after a miss or a make. And they're forced to have to face that Rhode Island half-court defense, and they've had some trouble.
So Ronnie Harold, the junior, will step to the free throw line for two. Last time that this program was in the tournament, it was a couple of years ago under Greg McDermott. His son, Doug, was the National Player of the Year, of course, voted on by the AP. And for a lot of people, this team had the potential maybe to even be better. That, of course, was before the injury to Watson. But what a coaching performance by McDermott and his staff to get them back in advance after a 2-year drought.
Still offensive juggernaut for most of the season. Average 82 points a game. 50.8 field goal percentage. Third in the nation there. UCLA and Gonzaga were 1 and 2. And this is a team that put points on the board with regularity, but they're facing a defense right here that has controlled tempo, that has kept them in front, beating them down the floor and make sure they get no advantage breaks. Everything Rhode Island needed to do against Creighton, they've gotten it done.
Isaiah Zierden has checked into the game for the Blue Jays. As we come up on the 13-minute mark, that is Terrell trying to force the issue down the paint. And the foul charge to Zierden will be his first.
Coach Hurley is rotating guys, getting fresh guys in, and no shot blocker. And they're putting their head down and trying to get to that free throw line.
Shot clock resets for the Rams. This is Terrell rising from three, a little bit short. And the reset rebound tracked down by the senior Zierden. The kid from Minneapolis. Harrell headed to the free throw line. Massive play for Creighton.
I love that play because they got an easy bucket in transition, a possible and one, and Harold's doing a nice job trying to run this point guard position, pushing it up, attacking the defense. That's what I like, going downhill. They've been playing side to side and just moving the basketball, even off screen and rolls. Somebody has to turn the corner and put their head down.
Well, that's Creighton basketball. When I talked about it before, make or miss, push it up the floor.
So Ronnie Harrell Jr., the Denver native, kid who, for most people, hasn't quite lived up to the big expectations that they had on him. But third year in the program, one of the biggest contributions he's made to this team all season. Especially when you consider the stakes, bringing his Blue Jays within 6. This is Langevin underneath. Powers back up and cleans up his own mess.
Langevin did a nice job of staying big and also getting a chance to get his own rebound. Great pump fake.
This is Hickner. Great body control off the pump fake.
I give a lot of credit to Harold. He's breaking down the defense. And once you do that, making the defense collapse, he's giving this offensive team some easy opportunities, some easier looks in.
This Creighton offense was nowhere to be found earlier. Suddenly showing some life. 12 minutes left. Iverson from deep.
Arrows everywhere.
He's playing with pace.
Marcus Foster, deep too short. And a rebound by Iverson.
One good thing for Creighton, though, is they've got this tempo back to the way they like it.
That is Terrell going glass. And he will shoot free throws when we come back. Well, just when you thought Rhode Island was running away from them, Creighton has answered, able to cut it to 6. All right, Adam, you see where the Tar Heels sit in the brackets. That this deadly South region got so many great teams. We will see, of course, UCLA in the nightcap here tonight, as they will advance to take on Arkansas, the 8th seed.
Tell you what, Carolina continues to bring it to the glass. One of the premier rebounding teams in the nation, and they're just blowing Texas Southern away off the glass.
This is Jared Terrell at the free throw line, the junior, Massachusetts native. A couple of big buckets early in that A-10 championship in their victory over VCU to get the Rams in the tournament for the first time since 1999, 18-year drought. They've got all of Kingston, Rhode Island buzzing. Had a huge crowd at the airport upon their return home. They're as excited about this team as they've ever been about any team in the history of this program. There's the steal by Matthews. Glides to the rack and finishes off glass.
And that was just excellent footwork by Matthews in playing his opponent. Moved his feet and got into the passing lane.
This is Hegner from deep. That's good.
And they needed that one. Ronnie Harrell doing a nice job of running the point. Turned it over on the play before. It came off, drew the defense, and kicked it out to Hegner.
Strong contingent of Creighton fans that have made the trek from Omaha. Blue Jays within 7. Floater from Matthews won't go, and this will be a foul underneath against Rhode Island. So now the officials talking about it, and they'll change their call. And we'll call the foul against the Blue Jays.
That was a good change. Good conference to make the change.
It's a correct call.
Hegner got there just a little bit too late. He wound up with the push.
So that is the 5th team foul. Both sides have 5 team fouls at the moment. As Hegner is whistled. So the shot clock resets. Oh, Anderson turned back. How about that defensive play by Hegner?
Good job to go up straight up vertically and block the shot. He was beat initially on the out-of-bounds play.
Anderson had a good first half. He's been a little bit quiet since. Terrell going right at Harrell. And contact underneath. Looks like Harrell is okay.
Take a look at this block rate. Yeah, he was beaten. But Iverson showed the ball. Good hand-eye coordination by Hegner.
There's Danny Hurley making his emotional return to the city. Told you about the story, of course, with his older brother, Bobby. Bobby Jr., Bobby Sr., and his mom, Chris, all in the seats here in Sacramento. Little floater won't go again from Matthews. Here come the Blue Jays with Harrell. Foster from deep. Well short. This is Matthews. Little Euro step, and he'll be shooting free throws.
Foster looks like he doesn't have his legs. That's twice now that he's come up way short from trying to knock down a 3 from the corner.
And he is now 1 of 6 from 3-point territory. You see another look at the foul.
Yeah, it was definitely a foul, and I think, like you said, for Foster, fading a lot on his jump shot, man, not following through, not going forward on the shot, and that miss was just like a turnover. The Rams got out and got an easy foul and a chance to get to the free throw line and knock down 2.
Tournament summary. How about the Pac-12? So far, the best conference in this tournament. We saw Oregon run roughshod over Iona here earlier, and the Ducks awaiting the winner of this one.
USC, take a look at them beating the number 6 seed. 11 seed had to play in the first 4. You know, do they have legs now to carry them, kind of like VCU back a few years ago?
7th straight year that a team from the first 4 has advanced to the round of 32.
I will say, Len, they do have size to get to the Final 4. They'll have some guys, and he's played all 3, 6'10", 6'11" guys in that first 4. Yep. And they play well together.
Hegner was fouled by Kelly just as he put it on the deck. Non-shooting foul. As we are just past the midway point of the second half. Rhode Island, the Atlantic 10 tournament champs, 24-9, taking on this Creighton team, the at-large bid out of the Big East Conference. Foster screaming for a foul. They'll inbound underneath with 28 seconds on the timer. There's Greg McDermott's 7th all-time appearance in the dance. Foster again had the look. And he is now 4 of 15 from the field. Their leading scorer, 2nd leading scorer this season in the Big East Conference.
And again, it seems to be legs because he didn't go vertical. He kind of went horizontal and tossed that shot up. He's got to be able to explode to the basket as we're accustomed to seeing him do.
This is Hassan Martin going right into the chest of Patton.
That's great defense. took away middle, then got a chance to move his body and went up vertical to bother that shot.
Haven't thought about the give and go. This is Thomas. Finds his spot. And just like that, 7-point game.
Smitty, you say he was your X factor?
Yes, that's my X factor. I just like the way, watching him on film, watching the way he plays defense, and see there's another play.
Thomas the steal. Rhode trailing. And here comes Creighton.
You know, Lynn, those guys you can see just know how to play plays within the offense and then give you that extra effort defensively. I love Kyrie Thomas. Deflection, unselfish, gets it to his partner, and the Blue Jays are back.
Tense moments for Rhode Island, and they're faithful here in Sacramento. They've missed 5 straight shots as Danny Hurley's bunch up by double digits earlier. Their lead now has been cut to 5 as we are past the 9-minute mark. Largest lead for Rhode Island in this game, guys, was 11.
In this second half, the Blue Jays have shot a better percentage, 50%. And they're perfect from the free throw line. That's got them right back into this ball game. Only down 5.
This is Robinson. What are the Rams' turn for offense here, as they have been sputtering the last couple of minutes. Martin, beautiful give and go. Back to Iverson, going glass.
Well, it's Justin Patton who was caught in between. Didn't know whether to switch or stay in double team, and it cost him.
Iverson, the Memphis transfer, spent his first 2 years there. What an addition he's been for this program. Whistle blown, and this will be a 1-and-1 situation. As we take another look at that little give and go between Martin and Iverson.
See, Patton, once he hesitated, it was just a terrific opportunity for Iverson to cut to the basket, and excellent delivery by Martin. You cannot hesitate when you have guys moving without the ball. You got to make up your mind. Are you going to come double, or are you going to stay with the man?
So here is Harrell, 61% free throw shooter. You mentioned maybe some disappointing moments earlier for him in his career with this program. But he came into that Big East championship against Villanova and gave him some good minutes off the bench. And we've seen a continuation of that. Smitty, you mentioned it earlier. One of the reasons why they've been able to come back.
He's the reason. He's been able to handle the point guard in this pressure. He's turned it over a couple times. Mintz hasn't played pretty much at all in this second half. They're going strictly with Ronnie.
High pass from Doughton, fielded by Robinson. Look at Robinson showing the footwork. 6-point game. Patton outside. Hebner. Defensive rebound. Patton. Boy, missed it badly.
Point blank.
He had inside position. Should have powered to the basket. Tried to float it. Trying to shoot a touch shot. He had to use his power on that one and try to even go up and maybe dunk it.
Well, the pass outside to Hebner. Probably should have kept that and went straight to the basket. He was right at the lip.
Rams reset. This is Matthews, the most talented offensive player. Fouled on a scoop attempt with the shot clock down to 5 seconds. It's on Patton, and that will be his 3rd personal. 6-point Rhode Island lead on TBS. Well, it was January 16th when Creighton's season took a turn for the worse. Maurice Watson Jr., their best player, going down with that devastating ACL injury in a game at Xavier. At the time, Creighton was 17-1. They were ranked 7th in the country. Watson, the leader in assists at the time of the injury, just under 9 per game. To lose that kind of a piece, Lenny, in season, so difficult.
Again, look at their record and their numbers without Maurice Watson Jr. And that just tells you how important a point guard is, a supreme point guard is. Makes it easier for everybody. And also, Watson was a scorer as well. They've struggled, and we've seen it here. Without that floor leadership, without that consummate skill to make other guys better, get other guys involved, Creighton has struggled. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have a chance in this ball game, but they've got to find somebody that's going to take the role and play it as well as Watson did.
This kid Harrell has certainly done his part in the second half. bringing the Blue Jays back from 11 down. Cut it to as few as 5 points. That's the 7-minute mark. Foster out to Thomas. Foster from deep.
Everything's been short.
Rhode, lucky bounce for the Blue Jays. 6-point game.
Patton didn't get the offensive rebound, but he went hard, and like you said, a lucky bounce. And they got a chance to put this one in.
At this point, I'm sure they'd rather be lucky than good.
Then the winner of this one advances to take on Oregon in a second-round matchup here on Sunday. And how juicy would that storyline be? Dana Altman, of course, a 16-year run at Creighton, building them into one of the great mid-majors in the country. Setting the table for Iverson, and more free throws coming up for the Rams.
Watch this off the rebound. Guys going there, Patton going for it, and like you said, a lucky bounce. Two guys going, and Harrell right there to clean it up. He'll take it.
Harrell, if you've just joined us, did not have a point in the first half. He's got 10 since. As the Blue Jays right now down 6.
Fouls change number 23.
So Karan Iverson to the free throw line. The officials now changing the call. They give it to Justin Patton. That will be his 4th. Guys, so that's a big change here. Patton has to play with 4 personals who will stay on the floor, at least for the moment. There's still 6 and change left.
Well, they're bringing him out, and you can see Patton a little disgusted.
Oh, watching the big dance calls for big refreshments, so grab a delicious ice-cold Coca-Cola and enjoy the game. Coca-Cola, enjoy the feeling. Spiro Dita, Steve Smith, Len Elmore, Roz Gold on Woode, rest of our crew, our producer Tom Heitz, Lonnie Dale, our director, and the rest of our fabulous TBS crew here in Sacramento. A lot of tense emotions on both sides. Rhode Island in the dance for the first time in 18 years, and Creighton trying to advance to take on Oregon. Doughton got a piece, and look at Foster getting his hands dirty.
Well, if there's ever a time for Marcus Foster to step up, this is it. He doesn't want to go home and think all summer what could have been.
Foster, you're totally right, man. He has to come out and just impose his will and try to get to the free throw line and make some things happen. But I think also Kyrie Thomas can try to go for it offensively as well. He makes smart plays with the basketball.
You see Matthews into the corner. Iverson from deep.
Speaking of smart plays, how about Matthews on the baseline?
Foster swatted by Martin at the other end. The Big East's leader in blocks this season. And a foul charge to Harrell as the Rhode Island faithful making themselves heard.
It was E.C. Matthews that made this play on the drive on the baseline. Drew the defense on the weak side over, and then them wide open. Iverson in the corner.
Big shot by Iverson, giving the Rhodies their first made 3 the second half. Let's get more on him now with Rise.
Dan Hurley told me Karan Iverson, he saw an uptick in Atlantic 10 play, and a lot of it had to do with just turning out the noise, simplifying the game, not actually worrying about how many shots he's going to get. And then the offense came. And Karan said, I don't really look for my offense anymore. I'm just out there trying to get energy off of playing defense and rebounding, and good things have started to happen for him.
Well, never really got a chance to play in Memphis. Just about 10 minutes a game. Averaged about 3 points a game. Obviously, he's a much better player than that demonstrated. But sometimes it's just about a change of scenery, change of system.
Just like Rod said, he's not thinking. He's out today with 17 points and leading the Rams on 6 of 13 shooting.
Hanson underneath. And another missed layup by the Blue Jays. Rhode Island has matched its largest lead at 11 as we move under 5 minutes left. This is Terrell. And Martin powering up with his strong left hand.
And if you're Coach McDermott, you might have to go back to Patton. There's only 4 minutes and 40 seconds left. You got to have some kind of resistance.
Hanson putting it down. Officials not calling the flop. There's Martin trying to draw the contact.
Look at Martin.
Timeout.
Look at Martin and his build. You think he's going to go down with that kind of flick? No way. Good, no call by the official.
As we sit in for the final 4:34, see where Creighton sits. Best shooting percentage teams in the country, trailing only UCLA and Gonzaga.
Nothing's been easy. They haven't got a chance to get many clean looks.
Some kind of defensive abrasiveness they anticipated from the Rams. Bruising team and champions out of the Atlantic 10. 11-point game. As Harrell hounding Doughton here. Greg McDermott nearly jumping out of his expensive shoes there in front of that Creighton bench.
And he's saying, give our defense the chance. Don't foul them and put them on the line.
This will be 2 free throws here, Lenny.
Yeah, you ran the clock down all the way down to 14. You might as well play defense. And I think for Harrell, he was confused. He thought the coaching staff wanted to foul.
I tell you what, you got to think the game. I'm sure
he looked over there.
He looked over there
and said,
made
why?
an excuse. And Greg understands that you got to give the defense a chance. You don't want to just give them points away.
So here is Doughton, the freshman. Mentioned that great high school program that he came out of, St. John's College High School. Anyone familiar with the Baltimore, D.C. area? Well, this kid's got a bright future in front of him. Taking advantage of the opportunity he was given this season after the absence of Jarvis Garrett. Pass from Foster deflected out of bounds. We're still 19 on the 30.
You see the frustration kicking in right now. Teammates are having differences of opinion out here on the floor.
We saw that Creighton has not led in this game. As this Rhode Island team talked about how hot they were coming into the tournament. As Harrell is fouled by Martin. And we'll get a timeout. It will be Harrell to the free throw line when we come back. 13-point game as the Blue Jays looking for one more push. Game summary, 3:58 mark, second half. Winner of this one advances to take on Dana Altman and the Oregon Ducks. As these tense final moments tick off the clock. There is Bob Hurley Sr., legendary high school coach at Jersey City High in Jersey City, New Jersey. Naismith Memorial Hall of Famer. Had a chance to speak with him earlier this week, and he was in Pittsburgh for the A-10 championship game between Rhode Island and VCU. And obviously Rhode Island trying to get to the tournament. It's been almost 20 years, and with about 6 minutes left in that game, and things kind of still hanging in the balance. He said he had to get up from his seat, walk to the bathroom. He thought he was going to get physically sick from the emotions of watching his son try to navigate through those final couple of minutes. He knew that they were so close. So what an emotional couple of weeks it's been for the Hurley family.
Just a great embrace by Bob Sr. and also Dan after they won the A-10. Kudos to him and so much he's done for youth high school basketball. He had about 28 national championships. 28 state championships, 4 national championships. He's been phenomenal.
And for the most part, he's produced some pretty good citizens, too.
Well, Patton has fouled out. You see McDermott telling his big man to keep his composure as the freshman's day and maybe season could be over.
They're down 12 with 3:50 to go, and the Rams at the free throw line. Justin Patton just didn't have that type of impact on this game, man. He's 3 for 12, 8 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 block. They needed more than that.
Well, this is a tournament that, forces you to have to bring your game to another level. And young man, hopefully this will be a lesson for him. He go back, review the tape, recognize his shortcomings, knows he has to work on them for next year. You know what I'm saying, too.
So this will be Doughton at the free throw line, also a freshman. Just to get back to Danny, we mentioned the whole family being here, the accident with Bobby Hurley, and what an impact that had on everyone. But, we sat with Danny yesterday, and he told us what kind of an impact it had on him and where he was in his life at that point. He had just quit from Seton Hall. He had watched his older brother perform at the highest level, and always wondered, boy, why can't it be me? I did the same things growing up, and was at a point in his life where he was kind of depressed and down on himself, and then the accident happened a couple of weeks after he had left Seton Hall, and he said that was a turning point, watching his brother fight for his life. Again, just a short drive from where we are here in that hospital room in Sacramento, and just how far he has come as a head coach over the last couple of years, as he has got his Rams now just 3 and change away from a date with Oregon in the round of 32.
You saw the clarity from Danny. He talked about it. He said, and one thing he said, me and Bobby did the same drills, did everything, and I couldn't figure out why. And now he said, after that accident, it put life in perspective for him, and great for him to see. He's doing a fantastic job with these Rams, and they have a chance right now to advance with 3:44 left.
Yeah, the phrase that he used was, instead of running somebody else's race, it's time to run your own race. And that's what this is about. It makes us all, tragedy can make us all step back and recognize the value in his life. The true value.
14-point game. As Robinson wisely will pull it out and reset as the Rams try to milk that clock.
The Sharks are circling right now.
Good job by the Rams, eating some clock.
11-3 Rhode Island run over the last 2 minutes. Maybe some more people will start talking about this Rams team as they close in on what will be their 9th straight win. Thomas, Creighton screaming for a defensive interference, a goaltend. Certainly looked like it was the case from our vantage point. No whistle.
It did. The referees might not have had a great angle, but it looked like it for sure.
Foster, little run out, but Thomas tried to switch hands in midair. Foster, pretty spin move and finish to cut it to a dozen. A bumping foul charge to Foster.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it looked like even if he got a piece of it, it had not hit the backboard. It didn't hit the rim. He got it right in between.
Guys, that is why I am not an official. Don't listen to anything I say in terms of that part of the game.
You're not an official because you do this better, man. Come on, man.
E.C. Matthews getting ready at the free throw line. And the southpaw makes good on the first. March Madness continues tonight. 8 more games in this first round across CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. You decide the games that you want to watch. We'll have Cincinnati and Kansas State coming up in a short while. That'll tip right around 7:27 Eastern time.
Watch that one. Watch that
one. We'll have that game for you coming up on True TV as Ronnie Harrell Jr. is fouled. But just to get back to how good this Rhode Island team is, we mentioned 8 straight wins. They trailed for a total, guys, of 43 seconds in the A-10 tournament. And they've led wire to wire today. Well, this is as confident a team as we have right now in the field.
It all begins with the tenacity on defense. I mean, they swarm, they stay in front of you, they play a physical brand that'll take you out of your rhythm and out of your game. And I'm sure that's the design, and it worked to perfection today.
Oh, who's going to make the most shots? Who has more points in the second half? If your bracket's already busted, you can play the Capital One NCAA Tournament Run game at ncaa.com and in the March Madness Live app.
Give Jeff Doughton, the freshman, a lot of credit. 17 points, 5 rebounds. Has not turned the basketball over for the Rams. Freshman doing a nice job in his first game in the tournament.
Robinson will sit. One of the key cogs on Hurley's bench. as Harrell hits on the third. Tyler Clement, Shawnee, Kansas native, will check in for the first time with 2:26 remaining. Reaching foul charge to Thomas. And Greg McDermott trying to work his bench a little bit, hoping that they've got one last push.
Also looking to shorten the game a bit to see if he can get Rhode Island to establish a negative trend and miss some free throws. You know, if they start hitting their free throws, you can expect Greg McDermott to call off the Dogs, but they may foul a few times just to see.
Right now up 13, I'm sorry, Spiro. I would say in about another 30 seconds, it's still a 13, 14-point lead. Like you said, he'll call off the Dogs.
So here's Matthews, the young man who had that devastating ACL injury early last season. Such high hopes for Rhode Island last year. He stumbled, of course, in large part due to the injuries. But it's funny, Hurley told us those same injuries that hurt them last year, this year were kind of a silver lining. Son Martin misses a couple of games. Langevin takes advantage. We mentioned Doughton coming on for Garrett. And on and on. Just a much different season than they had a year ago. As Hegner gets set for a couple of free throws. Hegner, a 62% free throw shooter. Berlin, Wisconsin native. 13-point game. There they are coming off the bus. Cincinnati, coached by Mick Cronin. Speaking of toughness and defense, the Bearcats as tough as nails at that end of the floor. And the difference this year, guys, their offensive game a little bit better than it's been the last couple of years. That'll be fun against Kansas State.
Absolutely. The addition of Kyle Washington in the middle, the emergence of Jacob Evans, really giving them some offensive pop to go along with that consistent defense that Mick Cronin's teams always display.
And that Kansas State Wildcats, I love the kid, Wesley Iwundu. I mean, 6'7", can handle the basketball. Had a fantastic game his last outing. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he took Wake Forest on by himself pretty much. Won the game for him.
A victory in Dayton by Kansas State on Tuesday, earning their trip here to Sacramento for their first-round matchup against Cincinnati. So here's Jeff Doughton at the line, the freshman. He struggled at the line this season, just 46%. All-rookie team in the Atlantic 10, making his 18th consecutive start. And what a performance today. 18 points, Smitty, in your first ever NCAA tournament game. Not bad for that young man.
Great leadership. You can see he's still coaching out there. Yep. with Coach Hurley. As a freshman, putting guys in place, asking who you have, who you're checking.
Got that scowl on his face to let him know he's not satisfied yet.
And I like all the upperclassmen are listening to him. Bill, what did you say his free throw percentage was?
The reverse jinx.
The reverse jinx.
Just trying to help the young man.
Yes, I like that he came in and pressured game and knocked down his free throws.
That pass right through the hands of Harrell. Inside to Terrell for the hard finish. Ronnie Harrell Jr. down the paint. Now Greg McDermott will start to empty his bench.
I'll tell you what, this obviously is not a great night for Creighton, as you see the steal, the dunk, the exclamation mark on this win for Rhode Island. But for Creighton, they found out some things, and one of them is the fact that Ronnie Harrell can play. And, you know, that should help them going forward. Sophomore may get a bigger chance, play a bigger role next year.
Now, this is his third year in the program. They did redshirt him 1 year. Of course, had to sit out after coming over 1:51 to play. Looked like Jeff Doughton hit the deck. May have slipped on a wet spot.
Fouls on Creighton number 24.
Foul charged here to Kobe Paris, who's just checked into the game.
I'm sorry, Len. Jeff was just trying to get back to that free throw line. He's trying to get him some more points on the board.
Yeah, on a more serious note, every time a guy hits the deck, they need somebody to come out here and wipe the floor. I haven't seen that happen yet. We saw in the first game, Jordan Washington almost injured himself, injured his ankle. And I don't see any ball boys or anyone coming out to wipe the floor. The guys slip. It presents dangerous situations.
Lenny, you're right. We may have to send you out and speak to some of these ball boys here. They got to get their act together.
I thought you were going to send me out with a mop, man. I'll
Never.
I don't see any ball boys.
Doughton has done the bulk of his damage at the free throw line, 10 of 10. As their lead has ballooned to 16 points, there is Paris just coming in off the bench. Freshman from the Philippines getting a taste of the NCAA tournament. And Paris, an interesting story. His dad, Benji, a former MVP in the Philippine Pro League out there. And I was told outside of Manny Pacquiao, his dad is probably the biggest sports celebrity in the history of the Philippines.
Oh, that's huge. Got a lot to live up to, young fella. No hesitation, though, Lenny came right in and knocked down the three.
His dad now an actor, big soap opera star in the Philippines. And Kobe only a freshman.
Soap opera
Has a
star.
couple of future years in front of him.
I think I'm going to the Philippines. See if I can get me a job. Got any acting skills, Len? I know you can sing. You've been singing since Dayton.
How do you think I've been doing this job all this time?
Lenny can sing. Let me answer that for him. He's a little modest. I heard him rocking out yesterday as Martine Krompel with a hard little finish underneath. Got a Doughton ahead of the field. Kansas and UC Davis about to get going. You can see that game right now getting started on TNT. A game being played out in Tulsa. And now Danny Hurley wants a timeout to get some of his subs into the game with 51 seconds left. You can see where Kansas and the Aggies sit in the bracket. Aggies trying to do the impossible against the top-seeded Jayhawks.
You got Sparty down below against Miami Hurricane.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Jim Larry Nega, excellent coach, and obviously Michigan State and Tom Izzo. This is going to be a battle, man.
Well, we talked to some of the Rhode Island folks yesterday, and as they pointed out, last time they were in the tournament, it was flip phones, it was floppy disks. 1998, Lamar Odom, the hero of that team, getting them in the dance with that incredible shot to beat Temple in the A-10 final. It's been a long wait, but well worth it as they are seconds away from advancing.
And now they can pop their vests, gramming, like Roz would say, and Instagram, and Snapchatting, and everything else these days.
Oh, Len, you got it, Len.
Hey, I'm learning from you folks, you young folks.
Raz asked Len if he was on the gram, and Lenny just looked confused. I enjoyed that little exchange today. Free throw off target from Thompson. There's Lamar Odom among the Rhode Island fans here, mixing it up with a lot of the same folks that were rooting for him back in the day here in Kingston, Rhode Island. Final 36 seconds. As Creighton season will come to an end here in Sacramento. Good-looking stroke from Jordan Scurry, freshman from Massachusetts. 12-point game as the Rhode Island faithful up out of their seats. The entire Hurley family here. What an emotional moment for them as the Rams set to advance. Still 1.9 remaining. Officials will make them inbound it here. Inbound to Clement, and that will do it. The Rhode Island Rams with their first NCAA tournament victory since 1998. Moving on to the second round and a date with the Oregon Ducks. And what a matchup that will be on Sunday. A red-hot Rhode Island team that has won 9 straight against the third-seeded Ducks in the Midwest.
Very impressed with the Rams' defense and their intensity.
Final score, Rhode Island 84, Creighton 72. Turnout at TNT for 16th-seeded UC Davis against the 1-seed Kansas. Also, TBS has Troy and Duke coming up at 7:20 Eastern Time. After a quick studio break, we will send you to our NCAA studios for an update. Rhode Island on to the round of 32.